This video is about contact sheets. So what is a contact sheet? Darkroom photography relies on a photographer taking out negative film, exposing that, bringing it back in, developing it, and then they've got to have a way to see it. So they normally cut the film up into strips, lay it out on paper, and then they can print a copy and have a look, so they can check the images, they can make decisions on the images, so they can mark up their images. Let's say no, or they in some cases have quite a sophisticated set of markups, including the cropping of images and notes on what they're going to do to the images in the darkroom. So that can apply to us as graphic designers, because we can use a sort of contact sheet system when we collect images. Now, we're not going to go into the darkroom to do it, we're going to do it in Photoshop. And what we're going to do is to create something like this. So this is an A4 document, and it can have as many images as I like on it. Instead of me copying and pasting or placing these images and resizing them and so on, I'm going to ask Photoshop to do this for me. It means that once I've got the document, just like the photographers, I can mark it up. Let's say I want to crop this in here. I can indicate images that I do and don't want to use, so maybe we won't use that one in the end. Maybe we won't use that one. And I can put as many images on the page as I need. Contact sheets are useful. You can print them off, put them in your sketchbook, and it's a way of showing some preliminary planning for your imagery. So how do we do it? First of all, you need a folder. You need to put your images inside that folder. There are two routes to this, so I'm going to take you through the simplest route first of all, and I go through what's called Photoshop's Automate. So Photoshop File, drop down menu, Automate, and then you are looking at this item here, Contact Sheet. Now I'll get a dialog box, and this is where I tell it how I want the contact sheet to be laid out. So first of all, I can pick folders or files. I can choose where that folder is, so we want London Images. And I can include any subfolders or not. Down here, this is the size of the document. It by default will fit into an A4 document, and it has a reasonably low resolution. You're going to tell it how many columns and how many rows you require. So it would be good to know the number of images that you want to put on your contact sheet if you want to get them all onto one sheet. So you break the columns down. So I'm going to have two columns by 4 rows. I'm going to leave the default spacing on, so you can see it will be quite tight. If I don't like that, I can change this, untick, and put in the spacing in between the images that I want. And then if you want the file names to appear, you leave this ticked. Obviously untick it if you don't want them. My file names are all weird file names. I'll leave it ticked, but you could rename your files, and that might be useful to you as well. So I'm going to say OK, and it's going to generate an A4 document with 2 columns, 4 rows, so that'll be 8 images per document. If it runs out of space, it will start a new document, and you can see it's called Contact Sheet. So it's managed to fit everything onto the one sheet here, and regardless of the actual size of the image, I happen to know that these dog ones are really tiny and this Amy Winehouse is a bit bigger. It will just simply optimize them as far as it can and fit them into that segment space in your columns and rows. So the only problem with this is I can't really organize it. It takes the images as they come. So Amy's at the top, building is at the top, clocks come afterwards. If I wanted to have this in a different order, I could add a step and do it a slightly different way. So the step that I like to add is in Bridge. So I've got to look at my folder in Bridge. You want to be in Essentials. And that means I can organize my folder. So I'm going to put the dogs together. Clocks could definitely stay together here. Amy I'm going to put at the end with the other celebrity, Charlie Chaplin. Let's put Big Ben up there. And another landmark up there. So actually put that there. Then you just simply shift click and decide how many of these you want on your page. If I didn't want these two, just leave them off, but I will include them in this case. Bridge gives you a count anyway, so you can see there's 8 items and 8 are selected. Then I can sort of forget about Bridge and I can go straight for the automate in Photoshop. File, automate, contact sheet. And instead of folders, I'm going to ask it to look at Bridge. So the benefit here is it's 8 files and it's going to be in the order in which I put them in Bridge. I can only do that on the computer that I'm working on. So my Bridge folder, if I take it to another computer, it won't recognize the order. But it's still useful. And again, I'm going to leave it 2 and 4 columns and rows. Say OK. So now you'll see it will be in the correct order. While it's doing that, I should say that Bridge used to have its own contact sheet automator. So you can see this is the order that I expressed it showed me. Now I'll need to save that. So you save it, and if I had more than 8 images, if I'd selected 16, it would have made me another sheet, and each sheet will be a separate Photoshop document. So you just save them where you need them to go. What I wanted to just show you very quickly was that in Bridge, older versions of Bridge, CS6, will have an extra tab, which will be an output tab, or your computer might show it as a drop-down menu like this, and it would have an output tab. So you click output, and you would get an option on the right-hand side to export to PDF. And what that does is it does exactly the same thing. You can organize your files. It will give you, down here, it will give you columns and rows. And you can decide how that's going to fit in. And the benefit of that is it's not Photoshop documents it's giving you, it gives you a fully fledged PDF with different pages. So 16 would go into a 2-page PDF setup as it's set up now. Now the reason I'm telling you that is I think it will come back into Bridge. I think it was a mistake to take it out, and a lot of people have complained. So it may well come back. You'll find out the output tab, and you'll be able to output both to PDF and to the web. So now, once I've got my image, if I wanted to, I could add an extra layer and begin marking up. So, I might want to pull in this tight. Let's say no to this one. We definitely want something here. I want that lattice in there, and so on. So I can mark it up and type on top of it if I want to, and so on. Or you could print it out and just handwrite on top of it, scribble all over it.